Hey there, so if you've been using YouTube Music on your PC, this is basically what you will be stuck. You pretty much only have the option to use this website here from an official standpoint. You know, it works. We can play songs, you won't hear them here because I'm not trying to get this YouTube video nuked by the copyright god, but this is pretty much everything they give us. This incredibly slow to use website that you could then also install as a web app, but that's pretty much it. I have been so pissed off by this that I actually decided to make my own music client. And here it is, right? So the project has been going on for a while now, and I just want to show you what it can do. The most important thing for me when developing this client was the main thing that caused me to hate the web version so much. That it's a web version, right? I wanted something that does not feel like a web version. And I really think that I've come close to that here because this is a Windows native application. So you can also download the client on a macOS and Linux, but Windows is kind of the primary thing. And I've really tried to make it not laggy. So you can see right now it's like caching the songs in the playlist, but once it has cached them, it's like instant. So that was super important to me to just have like a fast experience. So to get started, we can just look for a song, right? So let me just look for a very nice song, right? And you can see we have this handy little search panel here that I can open with Control Space. And then if I use my arrow keys, I can right away play the first song here. And you might have noticed something here because I just opened a new tab. So this is another concept that we have in this client here. We have multiple tabs. I can switch between them with either clicking or shortcuts as well. So Control 1, 2, I can switch between the tabs. And then each tab has its own like history and playing song. So this I find really useful whenever I'm listening to some song, whatever. I have some stuff in my queue. Of course, you can also add stuff to your queue. I think that's pretty understandable. And whenever I have stuff like in my queue and I quickly want to show someone else like a different song, then I can just switch to another tab and I have the other song I can play here, all that stuff. And then whenever I want to go back to my old queue, I can just switch back. And then we do have another option here, is that you can actually create local playlists. So I can pick like, for example, like my music folder here, and then it will add that as a local playlist all the way at the bottom. In this case, this is what I already had. And these are local songs, and these are stored on your device, but you can also add them to other playlists, for example. Yeah, this brings me to another thing. I wanted it to be like super easy to add stuff to a playlist. So you can just press Ctrl S, which is the shortcut to save in most applications, and you can just save to any playlist. And here we can also filter. And then an additional feature, of course, we also have the Discord RPC here, and we also have Last.fm support here, where you can scroll music if you want to. For that, you just have to connect it in the settings. And then we have first the homepage where you can get some recently played songs, some recommendations with the shuffle ping, where you can just shuffle and it will give you a recommendation here. You of course have your queue, and then also you have a lyrics page here, so you can get kind of interactive style lyrics. Then here you can find your albums, and you can also pre-order all of them. These are not stored on YouTube, but like these are locally stored, how you've ordered them. And then you can add stuff to a playlist. This will also be then sent onto YouTube, so that on the actual YouTube music website, the stuff will also be added. So this is not just a local thing, this will be synced here. And then there's quite a few settings that we can go through. Of course, you have the basics like launching the app at startup. Then we can remember the window size, all that sort of stuff. We have an option that reduces animations. And then we have, I think, a really cool feature, which is the mini player. So let's say I were to unfocus and focus like on a different window, like let's just minimize this. I will get this mini player. I can right click to drag it, right? And I can have just anywhere on my screen. This is my side monitor, but you get the idea. And then I can pause and unpause, and this is the volume here. Right? So yeah, and then if I click here, I can kind of get back. I think this works really well. I was against the idea of a mini player at first, but then people wanted it and I got a pull request, so I just added it. Then you can change how the window controls work, all that sort of stuff, right? And then last we have a shortcuts tab where you can change the shortcuts. You can of course click on artists, and then you get their artist page where you can then subscribe to the artist, and that will also be sent over to YouTube Music, and you can copy the album ID and you can save the album to your library, which will then appear here. So this has been like a little tour. Let's talk a little bit about what I've actually planned for the future, because this is by far not what I want to leave the project on. My ultimate goal would definitely be to have like a marketplace where you can install plugins and themes so that everyone can customize the client to their liking, because I found that like some people want more features, some people want less, and I'm just trying to get a customizable experience where everyone can like truly get the client to a state that they like. similar to what's already there, for example, for Spotify clients. So I would love for you to check the client out. The download is in the description. It's fully open source. There's a download for macOS, Linux, and Windows. And if you like the project, you can start on GitHub, and you can also buy me a coffee on Ko-Fi. As a last point, I just created this public roadmap where you can then vote on features and things you want to be implemented. We also have a subreddit, which is r/justanothermusic.c. Unfortunately, the name didn't quite fit. Anyway, this has been it. So feel free to download it right now. I will be working on as many updates as I can.